হ্যালো অ্যান্ড গুড ইভিনিং। সম্ভবত কিছুদিনের মধ্যেই স্কুল সার্ভিস কমিশনের পরীক্ষার বিজ্ঞাপন বেরোতে পারে, এরকম একটা ইনপুট আমার কাছে এসছে বা আমার পাবলিশারের কাছে এসছে। তো সে কথা মাথায় রেখে আমি একটা সিরিজ চালু করতে চাইছি। অবশ্যই এর মধ্যে কোনো ফিনান্সিয়াল ব্যাপার ইনভলভ নয়। আপনারা কেউ চাইলে দেখতে পারেন, না চাইলে নাও দেখতে পারেন, ভালো না লাগলে। কিন্তু আমার যে সামান্য দায়বদ্ধতা রয়েছে আমার যারা এখনো কর্মহীন সেই সমস্ত ভাই বোনেদের প্রতি, সেই দায়বদ্ধতা থেকে আমি একটা পাস এবং অনার্স যে সমস্ত পিস সিলেবি রয়েছে সেগুলোকে ডিসকাস করা, সেই দায়বদ্ধতা থেকে আজকে এই সানডে 4th জুন থেকে আমরা একটা সিরিজ চেষ্টা করবো, অ্যান্ড উই উড try to be regular as much as possible, and all kind of query, clarification, any kind of discussion, all are welcome for everyone. Ask whatever you want. So rather randomly we would start, and the first thing I want to say first is that the rumor I have listened to, my publisher has listened to, regarding that upcoming school service commission exam, after all, is not a declaration. So the exam obviously will take place, but I am in no position to say when that exam will take place, but it will happen. The second most important thing is that neither my publisher nor me, we are not sure about the pattern of the question. That is whether it will be totally MCQ type or it will be like previous question pattern, that is a 2-mark objective question. So I am not sure. I think none of us is sure. The previous trend says that the possibility is for MCQ. My publisher also asks for SSC book on based on mainly MCQ. But as far as I've heard, there was a SSC exam on Santali medium, but the question pattern was there of 2 marks. So it will be better for all of us to be prepared for both type of question, that is 2 marks and MCQ 1 mark. And remember, for MCQ especially, you have to minutely go through the text and read its context, its intertextuality, its allusions, its inner meaning, its references, its all kind of rhetorical devices, everything. Because you know that every word originates MCQ. As far as 2-number questions are concerned, there are also chances that in spite of a minute reading, some of us might fail to answer a 2-number question, especially when you cannot detect from which context, from which perspective the answer is sought. So my advice for you will be to go through the text. আমি অবশ্যই আপনাদের বলবো যে আমাকে ফলো করতে, আমার লেকচারগুলো ফলো করতে, অবশ্যই ফলো করা না করা দ্যাট ইজ ইয়োর ডিসিশন। ভালো লাগলে ফলো করবেন, ভালো না লাগলে আনফলো করুন। তবে আমি যতটা সাধ্য যে সমস্ত আমার চাকরি প্রার্থী ভাই বোনেরা রয়েছে তাদের জন্য আমি হেল্প করার জন্য নন মনিটাইজড ইউটিউব প্ল্যাটফর্মে এবং ফেসবুক প্ল্যাটফর্মে আপনাদের কে আমার যতটুকু জ্ঞান বুদ্ধি রয়েছে সেটা শেয়ার করার চেষ্টা করব। অল কাইন্ড অফ ক্রিটিসিজম, demand for clarification will be well accepted. I think all the videos will be available at my own page, that is Obik Kumar Maiti, my YouTube page, the link will be given, and another Facebook page, the link also will be shared to you. So we will begin with sonnet. You know that contextually some very minute topic is generally asked, and interestingly those topics are generally not taught at college or university level. The form seems to have originated in Italy in the 13th century among the Sicilian court poets. The Sicilian poet, you know that it was originated in Sicily. But the Sicilian poet also were influenced by the love poetry of the Provencal troubadours. Troubadours, you know that minstrels. From Sicily, it spread to Tuscany, where it reached its most sophisticated form of expression in the 14th century, when Petrarch started writing. His canzoniere, Canzoniere, his canzoniere, which is a sequence of 317 poems addressed to his beloved Laura, established and perfected Italian, or popularly known as Petrarchan sonnet form. We know of the Petrarchan sonnet too much, so we are not going in too much details about the feature of Petrarchan sonnet. We know that it is divided into octave and sestet, and the rhyme scheme is ABBA, ABBA, CD, 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 or CDE, CDE, CDE. Petrarchan sonnet become immensely influential in the Western canon. It soon became naturalized in Spain, Portugal, and France. And even it was introduced into Poland. You can ask, then where is England? My dear friend, in England, this sonnet form came into England rather late. And there is also, you should know that there is a basic difference between the French form of sonnet and the English form of sonnet. In France, the sonnets were written in Alexandrine. Alexandrine means 12 syllable iambic line, and in English it is iambic pentameter. It is popularly believed that Lentino, a Sicilian lawyer, has invented this sonnet form. The sonnet actually comes from the word sonetto, which means a small song, and possibly the sonnet was sung with the accompaniment of lyre, from which the word lyric comes. I think all you know all these things, so I would not stay here too much. The sonnet was introduced into England with other Italian verse forms, you know, by Sir Thomas Watt and Henry Howard. And a confusing aspect is that who was the Earl of Surrey? Earl of Surrey is Henry Howard, who presided in 16th century. All those things, that transformation and transmigration of sonnet happened in the Renaissance period, when Queen Elizabeth was on her throne. Typical Elizabethan sonnet, obviously we are not discussing about the Shakespearean form of sonnet. The typical Elizabethan sonnet was in sequence of love. Now see, the typical Elizabethan sonnet had some peculiar features. Number one, Elizabethan sonnet, it is unwritten law that the sonnet must deal with love, and the love is frustrated love, unreciprocated love. And herein lies the paradox. The paradox is that if the poet knows that the love will be unreturned or unreciprocated, why they go on adoring their beloved? Actually, the answer of this paradox is that in Elizabethan sonnet, the beloved is deified. Deified means raised to the status of God or goddess. She has been given a goddess-like, a divine stature. Now, why you go on to a pilgrimage? Do we go there to see God in animated form and talk to me face to face? No. We go to a place of pilgrimage as the Canterbury pilgrims went in Chaucer's poem, for the sake of spiritual uplift, mental solace. The same formula applies here. I know that my beloved is beyond my reach. Yet, I go on adoring her, worshipping her, because that's a rare opportunity for me for my own soul development, for my own development and solace of soul. So I know that the result is negative, yet I cannot refrain myself from adoring and worshipping, because that is a rare opportunity for me for my own self spiritual uplift. Among the notable Elizabethan sonneteers, we know the name of Sir Philip Sidney's Astrophelen Stella, which we will discuss soon. Samuel Daniel's Delia, that is in 1592. Michael Drayton's Ideas Mirror, 1594. Edmund Spenser's 1591 classic Amoreti, that also we will discuss. After Shakespeare, the sonnet form diverged and multiplied in its form, in its appeal. But as far as the Elizabethan or Petrarchan sonnet is concerned, the basic idea is about amor or love come worship, where the beloved is elevated to the status of a goddess. So the sonnet is like that proverbial camel which first enters its head into the tent, and after that it totally enters into the tent and kicks off the owner of the tent. In the similar way, the sonnet form which has migrated from Italy, Sicily, came rather late into England in the Renaissance era, slowly outstayed all that popular the then form in Elizabethan England. Sonnet, sonnet must be subjective, at least in the Elizabethan era. It is quite important that while you will read the sonnet of the Elizabethan era in your prescribed syllabi, everywhere the speaker is I. That is subjective, and obviously you will find some autobiographical reflection. Sonnet is in no way in the Elizabethan era is objective. Critics later would suspect that Shakespeare was objective in his sonnet, as was in his drama. But in the Elizabethan era, there is no iota of doubt that the sonnet form was not subjective. It was never objective, it was always subjective, and it speaks of the pangs and agony and very rare gratification of the speaker poet. Another important feature of the Elizabethan sonnet is that it is always centered on a single theme. Sonnet, because of its tight structure, does never allow the inclusion of more than one theme. So it is always singular in structure. The singularity is maintained. There is no question of incorporating more than one idea into one sonnet. And there is the tradition of sonnet sequence, which presents a total dramaturgy of the poet's arousal of love, his adoration, and his ultimate realization that the beloved of the sky, that the goddess of the sky, the beloved, can never be embraced by him, an earthly creature. The earth and heaven would never meet. So the concept of a nagging lover and a stoic beloved are the central figure. The speaker is in most cases singular. As far as the ornamental structure is concerned, rhetorical structure is concerned, in the Petrarchan sonnet it is said that the rhetorical devices are purely ornamentation. That is, if you just detach that rhetorical devices, suppose you can understand the rhetorical devices and you just throw them away, there will be no difficulty in understanding the poem, because Rhetoric is there super added. Unlike Shakespeare's sonnet, it is not an integral part of the sonnet. The rhetorical devices in most of the Elizabethan sonnet is a kind of ornamentation. Then you will say that if this sonnet form in the same hackneyed theme goes on for centuries, will it not make people bored? Yes, my dear friend, it will make people bored. And that is why Shakespeare was so immensely successful in his 164 sonnet. If Shakespeare had written no drama, he would gain immortality with his sonnets. And even before Shakespeare, especially Sidney and Spenser, in their own limited way, tried to infuse their originality by deviating from that established Petrarchan norm, though outwardly they appear to stick to that Petrarchan form. So, tomorrow we will discuss about, the next day we will discuss about Loving in Truth, and we will see that in spite of being a pure love sonnet, it is more than a love sonnet. And here, the ornamentation, that rhetoric, simile, metaphor, they are not just for ornamental purpose, they are integral part, they are core to the central theme. And there are also many diversions. It is more than a love sonnet. So this is just an introduction. So tomorrow, we will discuss about that loving in truth. And this is the way, with true love, that loving in truth, not only from the poet's part, but also from my part, we will start our series for your SLST exam and other competitive examination. So I would like to request you all to stay tuned. And in case of any confusion, you are free to messenger me, and I will try to satisfy you as much as my knowledge permits. So we have just started tonight. It's too hot, I am sweating. So tomorrow we will go into the main poem, and I end here with this conviction that you all know the origin and development of Elizabethan sonnet sequence. If someone has self-doubt, please clear yourself, because these are very basic idea which you have to clear yourself. So let's move on. Life must go on, and never let despair ever come in your mind. Remember, despair is a sin. I know there is sufficient reason for despair, for being frustrated, but you know, despair, frustration, meaning is a negation of faith in God. It's a negation of that idea that some positive, of course, happens to everybody's life. So never despair. We will fight. So hope to see you all in the next class.